So let's talk about the Dragon Pit in King's Landing. This is a building that we've seen on House of the Dragon, and it's going to pop up going forward, season 3 and onwards. Now, we know that this is a pretty enormous building. It has to be in order to house dragons, and you never know how big a dragon is going to grow. So surely they had to anticipate we're going to need a fair bit of room here. And on the show, it is an enormous and imposing building. It sticks out in King's Landing because it's so huge. But in the book, well, books plural, it comes across as even bigger. In book 3, A Storm of Swords, Sir Barristan Selmy tells Daenerys about the Dragon Pit. He says, in King's Landing, your ancestors raised an immense domed castle for their dragons. And he describes it as a cavernous dwelling with iron doors so wide that 30 knights could ride through them abreast. 30 knights on horses, like, let's just think of that for a second. Like, think of the width. Those are some big doors. So we'll start to get a feel for, like, the scale of it. In Fire and Blood, when Aegon is crowned, they choose the Dragon Pit because it's the best option. Because it is said that under its mighty dome were stone benches sufficient to seat 80,000. 80,000 people. That's like the capacity of Wembley Stadium, or of, like, MetLife Stadium or Lambeau Field. Like, we're talking huge stadiums, like 80,000 people. And that's just in the main room, like the central kind of domed bit, because it then kind of branches off. And the pit itself has thick walls, a strong roof and towering bronze doors, which made it defensible should traitors attempt to disrupt the ceremony. And you have these areas that branch off that go into the hillside, because this is built on one of the 3 main hills in King's Landing. Fire and Blood also says that the Dragon Pit has long brick-lined tunnels sunk deep into the hillside, and they had been fashioned after the manner of caves, and they were 5 times as large as the lairs on Dragonstone. So we're getting an idea of the scale, of the grandeur, of them understanding, look, dragons can get pretty big. So we need to factor in that they may be this size right now, but the chances are they're going to grow and there'll be more dragons. Like, the Targaryens at this time could not even picture not having dragons. It probably didn't even enter their consciousness. So they were thinking, right, let's plan big. Let's build it big because we're going to be able to fill it. So you've got all of these tunnels kind of branching off, and you've got doors that will separate the main, like, basically like the main atrium, like the lobby bit, the bit in the middle with the domed bit where you can put benches to seat 80,000 people. In that area, you can close all of these doors, sealing off these tunnels, and so the dragons can be kept on their side and you can use the facility for whatever event you want. And we've seen marriages happen in the Dragon Pit. We've seen funerals, we've seen coronations. It is the best place in King's Landing to gather the masses and to hold an event, especially a political event. Another thing that is said in Fire and Blood is that beneath the Great Dome, so in this main, I'm calling it the atrium, you have 40 huge undervaults that have been carved from the bones of the hill of Rhaenys in a great ring, and thick iron doors closed these man-made caves at either end, the inner doors fronting on the sands of the pit and the outer opening to the hillside. So when we see Rhaenyra landing Syrax or Daemon flying off on Caraxes and they're coming out of the Dragon Pit through the other entrance exit, and then you've got the main hall itself. So there's different ways of accessing. And I just want to mention lastly that the construction of the Dragon Pit was the idea of Maegor Targaryen, and Maegor, he rode Balerion. So even though he may never have intended to put Balerion in the Dragon Pit, you're still going to plan to make it big. Like, Maegor's not going to make it small. Like, that's just not his style. But after Maegor dies and Jaehaerys takes the throne, the Dragon Pit is still incomplete. Like, there's still loads more work to do. And then Jaehaerys kind of oversees the construction. And eventually it is done. And surely they went for the bigger the better. Like, especially when you can burrow into the hillside and seemingly you can go as far as you can until you come out the other side. And the idea of it being modelled on the dragon pit on Dragonstone, I mean, I think House of the Dragon got it pretty spot on. The way that you could hear an echo, and who knows how many little nooks and crannies there are. A dragon could be curled up in a little corner and you'd never know. Like, it's the scale of it, and it's the depth of these tunnels and how far they go. So to bring it back to the question that was asked about, is it bigger in the books? I think so. I think that on House of the Dragon, they're doing a good job of showing us that this is an enormous structure. The fact that it stands out in King's Landing, like, the majority of people who live in King's Landing live in tiny little dwellings. So to have this enormous, like, mansion on your doorstep for dragons, like, it's one of the biggest structures in the capital, in the realm.